This conference will now be recorded.
So very good evening to everybody. So today I will start with a little bit of discussion, a little bit in the light mood, and probably the whole thing will remain in a lighter mood today. And there will be, after today's class, there will be one quiz and one assignment, small assignment and one quiz. Each of them has to be submitted by the end of this week, and it has to be submitted, as I told before, via your canvas. So you can hear me, no problem in terms of the audio. Fair enough. For today, you should download the module 3. There is a module 3 in Canvas. You will see that there is one zip file attached to module 3. You should download that for today. And other than that, this module 2 part is something that I will start today. Discussion about that is something that I will start today, but we'll continue in the next week, the basic module. Okay. So to start with, if I ask, so the first thing that we have to very clearly understand that what is the expectation from this particular course, or in general, what if you want to understand that, you have to also understand that what exactly this data science is. There are lots of terminologies that are there which is related to data science, like big data, machine learning, deep learning, data science. Some people were asking SQL, Tableau yesterday. So you must have an understanding that what these guys are, where they fit, what are the role of this, all of these things, and what is important and what is probably not so important. This kind of a knowledge is something that is required before you can jump into the core data science thing. So when I talk about data science as an area, so it has 3 parts. It has basically 3 parts. So if I ask you, let's say, whom should I ask? Mayuk? Mayuk, what is your age?
I'm 36.
Good. Mayuk, you are married?
No, I'm not.
Okay, anybody? Okay, so anybody who is married, the man who is married, I'm asking, it's a male. In my class, any male who is married? Okay, Arun, the question is towards you. Arun, the question is like this, that let's say you and your wife have bought a new apartment. Okay, so I don't know, but you are staying in Bangalore. You have bought a new apartment, and you, before shifting, you just went to that apartment to see that how it is, the condition, what is the condition, and etc. in that apartment. So you went there in that particular apartment, which is a blank apartment at this moment. There is nothing there inside the apartment. There is nothing there, and all of a sudden, your wife asked you that, see, Arun, I want to have a cup of tea. You have not made anything for me for quite some time. It's an imaginary condition. Don't take it personally. So let's say your wife is saying that you have not made anything for me for a very long time. So why don't you make a cup of tea? And I want this cup of tea here itself. And it should be made by you in your own hand, not by ordering somewhere or not asking the neighbors or nothing. You have to make one cup of tea in this house, which is currently blank. There is nothing there in that house, and you have to make a cup of tea. What will you do, Arun? How will you make the cup of tea? What will you require? What will you do?
As it is a new apartment, I would go and first of all buy the required things for making cup of tea, like a small.
What will you buy?
I'll buy some utensils for making the cup of tea, and milk, and sugar, and the tea.
And tea, right?
Yes, and of course
Water, there is no water connection.
Sorry?
So there is no filter in the house. It's a new house.
Yes, filter and the
Not, you
stove.
will not buy a filter, you will buy a filter. You will buy mineral water or something.
Yes, water bottle.
Yeah. Stove, gas, yeah.
Yes, sir. Maybe electric.
So electric kettle, utensils will be electric kettle. And okay. So my question to Arun now is that this sugar, how much sugar will be required for 1 cup of tea?
Hardly 2 spoons.
Can you buy 2 spoons of sugar from the market?
No, not possible.
Is it possible? Not possible. So how much will you buy?
At least half a kg or 1 kg.
You will buy half a kg. What will you do the rest with the rest of the sugar?
It will be stored.
Stored, and you do not have anything to store it. So what will you buy then?
In the utensils, some storage utensils for storing this
Some
sugar.
storage utensils. Very good. And that's the same thing applies for probably the tea bags also, right? You need
Yes,
a storage utensils for tea bags, because there might be more than. So when we start cooking, when we start any kind of cooking, we first collect utensils and raw materials, and then whatever is left, we store it. The same applies to data science, that when you start, you want to do anything with data, you want to cook information out of data, you have to collect data. That's the first job. And then you have to store data. That is the second job. Thank you, Arun. So collecting data is generally done by not different ways. You sometimes have your ERP system which collects data like SAP and etc. You might have a IoT system, Internet of Things kind of a system, which has lots of trackers and which track. No, not ETL. Wait a minute. Wait with me. Devajyoti, ETL is not that. So ERP is that is what I'm trying to do here right now, to make sure that you understand where everything fits. ETL does not fit here. The collection of data is done through ERP, or let's say IoT, or sometimes through survey, normal survey, which where you ask people and they answer something. So this is one part of the data. But this is where the data science starts. That you collect data correctly, properly, and then the comes is storage of data. You want to store the data properly, and in the storage, what comes there in the storage? If you remember, this guy told that there is some storage utensils where he will put the sugar and the tea, and then he will put these sugar and tea utensils in some cupboard. So the databases are basically these storage utensils, and the cupboard are basically the, I would say, data warehouse, basically the servers, you can say. So the data warehouse, where lots of databases are stored. All of these things are basically, in general, servers or storage spaces. So database, lots of database together creates a data warehouse, which is like in your house, as you were saying, in your house there will be something called a cupboard. That cupboard will be data warehouse. Now coming to the next step. So I have studied in a college called, in my school days, I had studied in a place which is called Ramakrishna Mission. So where their goal of life was to serve people. So there were lots of monks. It was the mission of Swami Vivekananda, and so there are lots of monks, and the monks used to their goal of life was like serving the community. So in this Ramakrishna mission, every year there was one program that used to happen, which we call Naranarayan Seva, which is basically a feast of around 10,000 people in that locality. So wherever is this particular Ramakrishna mission was situated, around that particular place there were lots of poor people staying, and on that particular day all houses will not cook anything in their house. They will come irrespective of their background, irrespective of their caste, creed and religion. They will come to that particular place and they will have a community feast. So now you think about 10,000 people's cooking. Do you think that it can be cooked in one day? On the morning, if you start, you can cook by 1 p.m. about 10,000 people. Or to give an idea, let's say your mom, when there were some festivals happening at your home, and lots of, let's say around 15-20 people will come, but your mom will cook. So have you seen that your mom starts cooking one day earlier? Some chutney or some basic things she starts cooking one day earlier. Have you seen that? Yes, this half cooking. Thank you, Ankita. This half cooking. So this half cooked food, sometimes we require food to be half prepared so that we cook it at the later point of time. So in the Naranaran Seva that I was talking about, our job as a student, our job was to put this particular, if you have seen chilies, there was a heap of chilies, one small hill you can say of chilies, and our job is only to break the head of the chili and put it outside. That's all. And then there were some people who are seniors than us. Their job was to cut the vegetables, and that's all. Just cutting the vegetables, and that's all. So there are some people who do this pre-processing of the data. What is pre-processing? You take the raw materials, cut it, process it, so that it becomes ready-made for further preparation of cooking material, further preparation of food material at the later point of time when actual cooking will be done. So this pre-processing is done by this ETL. Somebody named this term ETL, extraction, transformation and loading, which is basically you extract data from the databases, you extract vegetables from the storages, whatever you have stored, then you half cook it, the processing, you half cook it, and then you load, you keep it somewhere again in some other database probably, or in some other utensils. So that part is called pre-processing, and we do ETL is the method which we do here, and Hadoop is the Hadoop or MapReduce is the technique that we use here. So I would say technology. Hadoop and MapReduce is the technology that we use here, and ETL is the technique. And in this particular part, all this Scala and blah 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 comes in. So transforming the raw data, loading for reporting for the further analytics. Now reporting, I will talk about later, but further analytics is something that I am mentioning as the actual cooking. So I'm not saying that this part is not important. The whole part that I just mentioned now, this part is not important. These are very important for data science. And frankly speaking, a data analyst or a data scientist should know at least at the basic level everything of this. Probably SQL will also come here because ETL was new. At a previous point of time, SQL was the programming language that used to be that we generally used to do this. Sorry. So I'm not saying that this is not important, but if you are a data scientist or if you are a data manager later point of time, you have to understand that this is just the initial part of the data. all of this thing together, this thing together is called data engineering. So the whole thing, the collection, a person who knows how to collect the data, how to store the data, how to process the data, how to do the ETL processing, everything together is generally for this data engineering, we require a person who has BTech or MTech background in IT, computer science, or sometimes people get training on those things also. But generally, this kind of background is needed. Yeah, fair enough. But this is not data analytics. Now, I will come back to Arun again. And Arun, I am asking you, let's say you have made the tea for your wife. After, so is it clear up to this point, whatever I told? Okay, fair enough, good. So let's say, Arun, I am asking you again that you have made the tea for your wife and you have made it for after a very long time, and your wife has asked the tea for a cup of tea for you, from you. So it's a special feeling that you have made for some time. You are starting the new house with something good for your wife. My question is that how would you serve the tea? Will you serve in a paper cup, or will you serve in a little bit better way? Arun, the
can
question
have
is
options
towards you.
like serving. Yes, I can serve it in a paper cup or a steel glass or in a porcelain cup. Any one of these three options could be chosen.
Yeah, so you probably would want to serve in a better way, because you are doing it after so long time, and you probably serve it in a let's say, I am saying, as you told, some good good cup, some fancy cup.
Yes, sir.
So that part of this thing is called data presentation. We call it basically the data visualization, where after cooking, after the cooking is done, you have to present this particular whatever you have made in a better way, so that the consumer understands, consumer in this case your client or your boss or whoever you want to pass this information, will understand what you are saying. And okay, probably with biscuits also or cookies also, because so all of these things comes under data visualization, where the presentation is important. And sometimes this presentation is required to do analytics also. Means I'm not saying always it is a feed forward kind of a relationship. It's not like that. Sometimes there is a backward feeding also. From based on data visualization, whatever information you generate, you do a different kind of data collection. Let's say the data visualization came up in such a way that your tea is very bad, or your tea color was very bad. So then you again go back to your store and get another cup of tea, another type of tea, and then again start making it probably. So that kind of backward feeding can also happen. I'm not saying that this is only the single direction and relationship. Now, data visualization, what comes under this? We start with basic Excel. So this is something which is also very, very, very important if you want to go to a data analytics role. You have to know Excel. If you do not know Excel, learn Excel, because your client understands Excel. 90% of our analytics even today is done on Excel only, on spreadsheets. So the first thing that you have to learn is Excel, obviously. Then MIS reporting that people do, developers do also come under this picture, but this has been not continued anymore. We are slowly discontinuing MIS reporting. And the third one is, as told here, Tableau, ClickView. So all the BI tools, basically, all kinds of BI tools. It can be Tableau, ClickView, probably Cognos, or probably MIS is Management Information System. Okay, probably Power BI. So all of these things comes under data visualization. So our job was also that in that Naranaran Seva that I was going back again and again, our job was serving, and we used to wear good clothes and etc. to while serving. The person who actually cooks, the person who is the cook of this whole thing, will wear a lungi and probably not even wear anything on the at the top, or probably I don't know whether you understand the word called gamcha, which is a towel, which is a desi towel. So he will have a desi towel and a lungi, and that's all. That's his looks. But he will cook the everything, which will be tasty or not tasty, whatever. But he will cook the everything. He is the main person behind the show. But we will be serving it, or we will be cutting the vegetables. So we will be the support actors in the show. Some support actor will be at the front, some support actor will be at the back, but both data engineering and data visualization is support acting. And here, in for data visualization, again, generally any BTech background, or not always BTech background, anybody who has some logical thinking background, frankly speaking, will be able to do this. So you do not require expert. You would require expert who will be generate his expertise by practice rather than by education. So that kind of thing comes up in the data visualization. But we are focusing on neither this nor this. We are focusing on the middle part, which is the actual cooking part, which is data analytics. So this is something, and all these three things together will be called as data science as an area. Now, data analytics has various kinds of brothers and sisters, and we will be talking about that slowly. So overall discrimination, have you understand this? So data analytics is the actual processing where you want to create information from the data. Now again, I will come to Manjari, let's say. Manjari, my question towards you is, let's say you are not well for the last, let's say, 3 days. You have been not now, at some different time period, probably not in the corona time period. So let's say in the last 3 days you are not well, you are having fever, and you had paracetamol at your home, but the fever is coming back again and again. So this coming back, you are having paracetamol, it's going away, again it is coming back, again you are having paracetamol. That cycle is going on. So after 3 days of this kind of a cycle, you thought that I should go to the doctor probably. The question to Manjari is that you came into the doctor's chamber, you opened the door, doctor asked you to sit beside him or her, whatever. So the question is that what will the doctor say then? It's a normal OPD.
Yeah, he will ask me about what are the symptoms or what are the problems you are facing.
Yes, so he or she will ask you about the symptoms. That is the first thing that he will do. And what will you say?
Like I'm again getting tired after taking the medicines, and headache and normal what I will face, I will tell to him.
Okay. Now, after you say that, there are sometimes doctor just write a medicine directly and say that, see, this is very common problem. Everybody is having at this time period. You just start having this kind of medicine, and then you let me know after 2 days what happens. Sometimes doctor does that, and sometimes doctor also says that no, you go for a medical checkup, you go for this XYZ test, and then come back. So how does doctor take this call? When does he just give some medicines directly, and when does he or she actually sends you to a diagnostic test?
After a
How
certain
do you
period of time, after checking that
no, so yes, please go ahead.
yeah, after checking a certain period of time that the medicines are working on me or not working on me. After
Yes, no, I'm
analyzing
saying in the past experience itself. I'm talking about the past experience. Actually, I will take Sanchita's or Ankita's answer that If there are lots of problems happening outside, other than you also, similar kind of responses are coming. There are recurring cases either with you or with somebody else's. In those kind of situations, when the doctor knows that this kind of symptoms is very common with many other people, he will probably give you medicine. So all I'm trying to say that when he is judging your or trying to diagnose your problem, he is asking your symptoms true, but he also is collecting information. He or she is also collecting information about the environment, which is outside the system, which is your body. So outside system, which is your body, outside your body's information, that means the environmental information. What is the situation in the, so right now if you have fever, they will directly go for a COVID test because the situation is like that. So that part, all of this together, the external information and your internal information, when you just describe that, that is called descriptive analytics, which is just the descriptions of the symptoms. This descriptive analytics can be graphical. The moment it becomes graphical, that is actually equivalent to data visualization. But it might be non-graphical also. It might be mathematical also. So I will talk about that as I. So not analysis, analytics. Sorry, descriptive analytics. Okay. Okay. So the next is your doctor, let's say, asks you to go for a test. Okay. So what kind of test the doctor will ask you to go for? How he decides that which test he will suggest you? Again, Manjari.
Actually, that kind of a test by which he can detect me more clearly, like for COVID test only, he will give me like COVID positive test.
Yeah. So
Means
so frankly speaking, I will take your answer. It's right that he will actually suggest such kind of tests which has the highest primary level of diagnostic ability. So the test which assures whatever hypothesis he has in your mind. So he sees your symptoms. He or she will create a hypothesis in his mind that okay, you might have this. That is a hypothesis. He will check that hypothesis using certain kind of tests. So he will suggest such kind of test which assures that whether his hypothesis is right or wrong, which gives a very good idea or very good information that whether whatever hypothesis this particular person has made in his mind, whether that is correct or not. So this part is basically, we also do that. This part is called diagnostic analytics, where we are having certain hypotheses in our mind and we are diagnosing that whether those hypotheses are correct or not. Yes, diagnostic hypothesis testing is part of this diagnostic analytics, as Vidvang told. What that means, we'll come to that later, but now just understand the terms and their meaning with a story. So fair enough, you have got certain diagnostic test results, and generally those results has the upper limit and lower limit. If you remember, if you have seen a diagnostic test result from a diagnostic center, you will see that you will have your parameter value, and then what is the upper limit and the lower limit probably. And if you are within that limit, then everything is fine. Otherwise, there is something wrong. And then there are multiple tests, multiple kind of parameters comes up sometimes, and based on multiple parameters results, people try to estimate that what you have or what you don't have. Now let's say that the doctor understood, God forbid, that XYZ patient has corona. Okay, doctor understood that this XYZ patient, not Manjari, thank God, has corona. Okay, The question is that for corona, there are probably 3-4 types of things that the doctor can do. One is that obviously he will be quarantined, but he can be only given, let's say, certain medicines which are related to his symptoms like fever and cold and blah blah blah, or he can be given certain kind of antiviral, or he can be given certain kind of antibacteria, or he can be given a mixture of antibacterial and antiviral and antibacterial, whatever, or he can be given some other malaria or plasma therapy, etc. So there are multiple options. Now, how do you think these multiple options are created? So, question is that how would I know that which option will lead to what? So, if I give plasma therapy, will you be okay? Or if I give HCQ, you will be okay. How will I judge that as a doctor?
By your
How will I
experience.
know that this part? Yeah, based on my experience. Now this is COVID. This is a new thing. There is no experience. What will you do?
By hit and
You will
trial,
do trial
because
and error based on, yes. So you will do trial and error, or you will see other guys' report, and you will try to create a predictive model in your mind based on trial and error, based on other guys' report, based on test results. You will try to create a predictive model in your mind that if I give this, this is going to happen. If I give that, something else is going to happen. So that part where we try to predict your future based on actions taken by me or by you or by the environment, that is called predictive analytics, where I'm trying to predict your future. Then the last part. So now, let's say the doctor understood that either you can be given plasma therapy. If you given plasma therapy, your chance of revival is, let's say, 70%. If you are given HCQ, your chance of revival is, let's say, 90%. Okay, so plasma therapy is 70% and HCQ, chance of revival, is 90%. Which one will doctor give you?
plasma.
Why plasma? Why not HCQ? HCQ chance of revival means that you will be okay, not chance of death. Chance of revival, I'm saying.
Okay.
Means
So
your chance of you being good is 90%. This is the predictive analytics result. That if I give to this patient plasma therapy, 70% chance he will be okay, and if I give you HCQ, 90% chance he will be okay.
so HCQ will be given because more
HCQ will be
chances.
given,
Yeah.
more chances of survival.
Yeah.
Do you think, by any chance, is there any other thing that he will take into consideration? So Arun Babu told that it will depend on condition. So any other things that he will take into consideration while doing this suggestion? Cost of the therapy. Thank you, Sancheta. Cost of the therapy. So probably plasma therapy is very costly, and HCQ is not so costly. HCQ is a medicine, plasma therapy is, or let's say the opposite. Let's say HCQ is 90%, the HCQ is 70%, plasma therapy is 90%. You will suggest plasma therapy then. But let's say plasma therapy, you require in-house inpatient services. That means you have to hospitalize that person for plasma therapy. But HCQ can just give a medicine. So the cost of plasma therapy might be much higher. You have to get a guy who has similar plasma. HCQ is just a medicine. So probably the cost will be an important factor, as Sancheta told. Anything else might be very important factor other than cost? Probably severity of the patient's symptoms, patient age, whether he will, the side effects you have to also
Yeah.
consider.
Other
HCQ might
diseases
have,
also.
HCQ might have very, you all know that plasma therapy does not have a side effect, but HCQ have a side effect in terms of cardiovascular diseases or something. So that kind might be an impact. cost might be an impact, whether you have a support system might be an impact. Let's say, how do you decide for some patients, for some cancer patients, the doctors say that, okay, you just go home. And then for the same level of the cancer patient, both are in the last stage. But for some patients, they fight a lot. They ask them to, why don't you go to UK and do this, that. And for some other patients, they say that, why don't you go home or take homeopathy or take some alternative medicine. Our medicine will not work. That is because that there are lots of constraints. If you are a farmer, or if you are a very old person, or by chance if you are a very poor person, you might not survive the effect of a chemotherapy or something like that, or you might not be able to afford foreign travel. So in those kind of cases, the prescriptions will be different, even if the predictions say that plasma therapy is better than HCQ. Even if your prediction is saying that if you give plasma therapy, the chances of survival is much higher than HCQ, your prescription will not only depend on this prediction. Your prescription will depend on the boundary conditions. Your prescription will depend on the constraints. So that part, where we take a decision, based on the predictions and the constraints, is called prescriptive analytics. We will be doing this part of the story, and neither this nor this. I will do this, the left side and right side, as much as required to do this. That's all. Any question as of now? Okay, let me go ahead. So now that we have told this, Bipin, I will come to that. When we'll start coding, you can answer. You can ask. Please hold. Now, when I talk about one of the major part of these 4 types of analytics is predictive analytics. One of the major part of this kind of story that I have told is predictive analytics, because that is why it is used most. This particular whatever we are going to learn. So this predictive analytics also has different types of way of predictions. Okay, so the first one that I want to say, that the predictive analytics are of majorly 2 types. Okay, so let me give an idea before I jump in. Let me give an idea of what a predictive analytics is before we do anything else. So anybody who has gone to a Babaji fortune teller in this class? Yeah, Dipanks. So Dipanks, the question towards you is that, let's say you are going to a you have some issues, you want some answers, and you have gone to some fortune teller. And he's a new fortune teller. Nobody in your friend and your family and etc. knows him. Okay, so you do not have any preconceived notion about this particular fortune teller, whether he's good, whether he's bad. You don't have any kind of idea. Fair enough. So now
Yes.
you have gone to this fortune teller. My question is that how will you judge that whether you should believe on these guys? Because there are lots of people who are actually good fortune teller, and there are other people who are fake. So how will you judge that this person is actually a good one or not?
I will try to track down all his previous customers and get their feedback on him, on the fortune teller.
Now, so if feedback is not possible, see, answers are getting prompted. If feedback is not possible, you don't know the customer list. Okay?
Okay, if I don't know the customer list. then I will question him. I'll question the fortune teller and try to, like, I will know what has been happened with me, and I will ask him.
Thank God.
And
So everybody is saying that actually. So you will ask him about your past. Fair enough. You will ask him about your past, and what happens is when you try to ask him about your past. So let's say this is your life. This box is your life, and when the moment you ask before you ask him about your past, he will ask that okay, I can answer about your past, but I need some information. So what information? Different fortune teller requires different kind of information. Some fortune teller requires your date of birth, place of birth, kind of stuff. Some other fortune tellers ask you to pick up one card or uh, look at a tea, probably tea cup or something, or have a cup of tea or something like that. So there are different kinds of models, different depending on somebody will actually a parrot is there, somebody will actually see your hand. So they collect certain information about you. Okay.
correct.
And there are certain other information which you do not disclose.
Yeah.
So some information is disclosed. This is disclosed information. And some information is not disclosed information. And you actually try that based on the disclosed information, how they can predict the not disclosed information. Then only I will say this guy is good. Fair enough. Now,
Yes.
here also in a predictive model also, we actually say that this is my training data. We have a past data. Based on that, we want to predict the future. But before that, I want to know that how my guy actually can predict from the past the undisclosed test data. So this is something that we also do. Break the data set between training and testing. Some part is disclosed to the modeler, that means the algorithm, whatever we will do, and some part is not disclosed to the algorithm. And the algorithm, which is the Babaji, has to predict what is there in the testing. Now, different Babaji has different models with your past data. So let's say there are three Babajis. Babaji 1, Babaji 2, and Babaji 3. So basically model 1, model 2, and model 3. And you have a history, which is how much marks you have got in maths in class 10 standard. So this is Y actual. And this Babaji predicts YP1, this Babaji predicts YP2, this Babaji predicts YP3. How they predict, you don't know. You don't know about the information because the Babaji will not disclose his strategy in front of you, his calculation strategy in front of you. But he have given some prediction. This guy is also given some prediction. This guy has also given some prediction. Whatever the distance between the predicted and the actual values are the lowest, whatever the distance is lowest, you will choose that Babaji. You will say that that Babaji is better. So this is something that in a basic starting way we do. That we actually choose. Does this mean that we first divide the data into two sections? One is used for prediction model, the other is test. Yes, so I'm saying the same thing in a story type of kind of a language. Yes, Preeti, that's what I'm saying. That we break the past data. Everything that happened here is past. We break this past data in training and testing data, and based on training data, we make multiple models and we try to test the testing data. But here, why I have brought in this Babaji Pala thing is that when you go to a Babaji, you do not know what this Babaji is doing, how he is getting this calculation, whether there is any logic behind that or not. Sometimes we have belief. We don't have, sometimes we don't focus on the logic part. We believe that, okay, he has studied XYZ, and based on that XYZ, he is doing this prediction, and that the prediction is correct or wrong will be only be judged based on whether the prediction is good enough for my past data, which I already know. So when your target is that to get a good prediction only, when your target is to get a good prediction only, and you do not care about the methodology, basically you are in a black box, you follow something called machine learning. So that M1, M2, M3 are basically machine learning models, as long as your strategy is that the machine will learn from the training data and will predict something about the testing data. But I will not care whether the learning methodology of the machine has some logic or not, has some, I would say, some theoretical backing or not. But then there are other kinds of predictions that are also available. For example, let's say you are trying to predict that which person will. One type of prediction is that whether I will get a promotion or not, or whether I will be getting a job change or not, which is very personal decision. And for that you can go to a Babaji. But you cannot go to a Babaji to decide. Let's say you are PNB's, Punjab National Bank's bank manager. You cannot go to a Babaji and ask that, Babaji, can you predict that whether this person will take the loan and then fly away? You cannot, for certain kind of decisions, you have to have a underlying methodology, you have to answer to the person that why this kind. Babaji probably can predict, I do not know, I'm not sure how good the Babaji is, but probably the Babaji will be able to predict that whether this guy will go will stay here or go away with the money. I don't know, probably he can. I don't know his capability. But I am just saying that even if he predicts right, it's 100% times he is predicting right. If you do not have a logical reasoning behind that, and how he is predicting, you cannot use those kind of prediction models in some of the situations. So in some of the life situation, good prediction is important. Good prediction is important, but more important is the explanation. There are certain cases where good prediction is important, but more important is the explanation. So let's say that Babaji told that XYZ person will fly away with the money, and then you do not give him credit, he can sue you. You are a bank's manager who is a public servant. He can sue you and say that, why you are doing discrimination against me? Why are you not giving me loan while you are giving so many other people loan? Why, based on this Babaji's prediction, you are not giving me loan? What kind of thing it is? So he can say that, and then you have to give explanation that because of X, Y, Z, because of your credit score, because of your already existing loans, because of your past history, some blah 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 reasons you have to give for which I am not giving you loan. So I have a predictive mechanism which is having a theoretical reasoning why X1, X2, X3 will predict Y. Let's say Y is that your probability of flying away, and X1, X2, X3 is your past history, your already available loan, your activities, blah blah blah. So this X1, X2, X3 has some theoretical relationship with Y, and when that theoretical relationship with that Y becomes important, you cannot use machine learning techniques. And that's why for banks, for certain kind of questions, we use machine learning technique. For many financial reasons, for example, trading. Somebody was doing financial engineering here. For credit rating, they cannot use machine learning. Or nowadays they are using, but it is still questioned. But for trading, that what I will put money so that I will get better returns, that is a very personal affair. But there is no theory. Nobody understands how this share market works. So you have to do certain kind of trading where you have to use machine learning to predict how the stock price will change without any theoretical reasoning for that why it changed. So for those kind of things, machine learning is applicable. For this kind of things, something is applicable which is called econometrics, where the theoretical relationship between X and Y is related. So to come back to the previous thing that I told, this data analytics, here we require basically computer science. Just 1 minute. So here we require computer science or statistics people. Majorly, these are the two groups of people, statisticians and computer scientists, who reign in this zone. Majorly. And there are two schools of thought. Generally, this is the school which computer scientists follow. Computer science people follow. And this is the school of thought which statisticians follow. This is the school of thought which people who have statistics background follow, and there is always a struggle between these two schools of thoughts. Now, frankly speaking, we who are participating in the discussion here are mostly neither computer science background people nor statistics background people. We are probably people who are just the users. Whatever computer science people make for us and whatever theories and algorithms statisticians make for us, we use them. So we will use both. But we have to understand that in what condition I will use which one. The moment the prediction is important, I will use this one. And the moment for example, let's say medicine usage of a medicine to cure coronavirus. Do you think you will use machine learning or will you use econometric techniques when you try to use that whether one medicine will be working or not? So whether one machine will one particular this thing will work or not, one particular medicine will work or not, you do not know the mechanism. Oftentimes the mechanism within our body is so tough that we do not have a theory for that. So when we do not have a theory for that, we do not know that what kind of exactly in which mechanism this particular medicine will work. We often use machine learning techniques rather than econometric techniques. But if I ask you that, okay, what should be your optimal price? Let's say if I ask you that, okay, you are selling mask, and mask demand, the N95 mask demand is going up like anything now. So at what price you should sell the mask so that you will get the highest return? You will not use machine learning because there is a very specific theory for that. And that theory works. We have quite a bit of knowledge for theory, we will use econometrics. So frankly speaking, for all such cases where existing theories are there, I will use econometric techniques. Now, some of the econometric techniques are regression and logistic regression. We will learn this. If you check our syllabus, this is included there. And some of the machine learning techniques that we will do are, let's say, decision tree and random forest, ANN, artificial neural network. These are some of the things that we will be doing in this particular course. And there are others which you can do it later point of time. Fair enough. Any question on whatever we did today up to this point? Do you understand what are the difference between these two schools of thoughts? Okay, fair enough. Thank you. So the next thing that I would want to say, and I will share these scribblings with you guys. The file I will share as a PDF. Okay, sorry. So the next thing that I want to say is something called machine learning. Let's understand machine learning. What is machine learning? Machine learning is something what the machine learns. Now, let's say, how will I give an example? Let's say just wait a minute. So I'm playing Pictionary. Can you tell me what are these three things? Thank God. So I don't have to write separately. So let's say these are goats. I'm telling you, I'm playing a game with you guys. Huh? Let's say these guys are goats. And these guys are, let's say, cows. So I go to my kid, or let's say, and I say that, and my kid is, let's say, 1.5 years old, and he has not learned what is cow, what is goat yet. And I'm telling that at least 2 years old, or 2.5. I don't know. I forgot actually at what age I have taught him all this stuff. So let's say I tell that, okay, these things are goats. Just see that these are goats, and these things are cows. I show him, and then I show this thing to him, this particular object to him, and I ask him, tell me what is this thing, whether it is a cow or it is a goat. What will be his answer? These are the two options, either cow or goat. Okay, thank you. So why goat? Anybody? Why goat? None of them is not an option. Cows and goats are option. So it is long thingy, the shape. So this exactly this what you did right now is called a supervised learning. Exactly the thing that you did just now. It's called supervised learning, where I am supervising you, that I'm showing you something and supervising you with some level. Pre-labeled data is used. This is my data, this is the characteristics of the products, and these are the labels of those products. So I am giving you some pre-labeled data. That means these guys are labeled as goats, these guys are labeled as cows. This is already labeled, and then I have shown you. So I have supervised your learning, and based on that learning, you are saying that this is goat. So if by chance, if I told this is cat, you would have told this is cat. So what you will tell to this new thing is supervised by me. It's not your own choice. So this kind of learning is called supervised learning. And then there are something called unsupervised learning. How will I tell that? Divans, can you break? So just see, I think you have seen the name of the participants in this class. Can you break the participants into two groups? Two or multiple groups as per your choice. Can you break it? And those breaking has to be meaningful. Okay, so people are not letting answer. Yes, so male female can be one way of breaking. Any other person, married or unmarried? Very good. So you can ask them, ask people who is married, who is unmarried. You can ask people based on their age criteria. Very good. So all this kind of breaking, I am not telling you. I am not telling you that how will you break. CS background or stat background, good group up. So I am not telling you how you break. I am just asking you to break. That's all. And you are breaking it based on your own criteria. Some criteria will be more applicable and some criteria will be less applicable in different contexts. For example, if you are selling clothes, then male female is a very important factor. But if you are a teacher teaching in the class, probably male female is not so important factor. On the other hand, if you are teaching in the class, the educational background will be a very important factor, whether he is from BTech or science or arts or commerce, what background he is coming from. Let's say I'm teaching analytics. What background you're coming from is a very important factor for me. But again, which gender you have or which work experience you have, probably not so important factor. So there can be different ways things can be learned, but I, as a modeler, is not supervising anything. I am asking the algorithm to learn it on its own, based on whatever is most suitable. So those kind of learning is called unsupervised learning. The techniques, the ANN, decision tree, random forest that I mentioned at the before, and which we will cover in our course, are part of supervised learning. And segmentation or cluster analysis, this is also something that we cover in our course, is one of the most important unsupervised learning, which we will cover in the class in our course. So that is how the whole data science is. So we will start from basic descriptive analytics, then we'll do diagnostic analytics, then we will do predictive analytics, both econometric and machine learning, and in machine learning both supervised and unsupervised. We will try to touch prescriptive analytics at least at the basic level. Let's see how much we will be able to achieve. And all of these things, whatever I am saying till now, will be done using R programming. Fair enough? Any question? Very good, very good. Okay, so today we have another 1 hour left. So let's quickly do whatever. So now, Bipin, you can ask your question. Others can open this dataviz.r. So as usual, you have to download it from your module 3, download the files, and then put it in a folder, unzip it and put it in a folder, and then open dataviz.r. So Vipin, why don't you just unmute yourself and then ask the question quickly.
Please ignore the method I have sent. I am sending the answer on.
Yeah, didn't get you.
I have two data. Actually, I have two code. and I expect both the codes would give the same answer. And out of both, I'm thinking one code is more precise, but
So
I'm getting
see
different
this
answers.
one. Then the wrong thing is you have written summarize, but then you are not creating a variable. You have to write summarize, then some variable name is equal to this.
Actually, so this is
So
what
some
I'm saying.
variable name was missing. So see here, in is before this if else, you have to give some variable name.
This that is and the code is this one. I said no.
Yeah. So you said
Second one
the
is
code. I understood what
second one,
it was.
but the second one is producing correct result, and but the first one is not producing the correct result.
The second one is giving the correct result, and the first one is not giving the correct result.
Yeah.
What is the difference?
Yes.
Data dollar margin. Okay. And the second one is correct. Yes, second one is correct. First one will not give you correct result.
So why sir I'm not getting this? The data dollar margin is
Because
more
because data dollar margin does not work under the DPLY library.
okay, fine sir, fine.
This one will give you correct result. The one that you said in the second time.
Yeah, second one is giving correct result. Fine,
But you have to save it somewhere. You have to save it with some variable name.
yes, I did this both the things. I saved by variable name and also by this without saving the variable name. Even after saving by variable name, I'm getting the same answers. Only the problem is this data margin.
So that you have to you should not write data dollar margin within DPLY or piping. If you are not doing the piping, if you are doing it separately, then it's okay.
Fine, fine. Thank you,
Fine.
sir.
Okay. So today we will do a little bit of visualization, and before that, yesterday somebody asked that how to write my own function, and I will stop there. So let's write my own function. Let's say what is the job of a function? If you remember, the job of a function is to get certain inputs. There can be more than one inputs, and do some job, do some process, and then get output. And that output can also be multiple output. Here in R, we can give only one single output. So here in R, we cannot give multiple output. But there are ways to give multiple outputs in one single output. I will show you that. So this is something that the function does, as simple as that. So what I will do is I will create a small function, which is easy one. What is cat? What are you writing? Okay, so I will run a function which is basically takes, let's say, 3 numbers A, B, and C, and gives let's say A square plus B square plus C square. This is something that they return. Yes. We can do that. So how will I write? Let's say the first thing that I have to write is the name of the function. Let's say the name of the function is so I will write Shamanta is a function of x. Shamanta is a function of x, and then I will write a third bracket. Okay, and I just pressed shift enter so that it does not run. Shift enter. Okay, you have those who do coding in some other language, let's say it's SQL or Python or Java, has probably done this shift enter before. So I'm just making some space and I'm writing, let's say A is equal to what I will do, X will have 3 entries. So in my mind, I have to think that how I will treat it. So let's say X is a vector which has 3 entries, A, B, C, and I will probably just square them up and then add them up. So I write B is equal to x2 and C is equal to x3 like this, and then sorry, and then again press enter. Then B is equal to a squared plus b squared plus c squared, and then again shift enter, and then return D. So this is what I have written. Just check carefully. So x I have taken, then the first entry of x is A, the second entry of x is B, and third entry of x is C. I am naming them, and then I'm writing D is equal to a square plus b square plus c square. Then this return D. So return D is my, so x is my input, x is a vector which is my input, and D is a single number which is also a vector which is my output. Now if I run this much, what happened? Okay, there is a comma. I by mistake I have given a comma. Sorry, this will be a semicolon. Okay, now if I just run this, it runs properly, and here in the global environment you will see that a function called Swagato is saved. Fair enough, this is the function which got saved. So if I click view Swagato, I will be able to see the function or not. I should have been able to see the function. Okay, I click here. Oh, okay, it's showing at the top. Okay, so I will be able to see the function if I do view Swagato. Fair enough. Now I have to run the function with some input. So what I will write is Swagato and then within bracket. So the moment I put a first bracket after writing anything, it becomes a function, right? The R knows that we are talking about a function here. And what will be the input within the function? It's a C 1, 2, 3 means a vector which will replace x, and the value is 1, 2, 3. So what will be my result if I run this? If I press an enter, what happens is it goes into the function. So x is this 1, 2, 3. So in place of this A, 1 gets saved because the first entry of x is 1. In place of B, the 2 gets saved, and in place of C, the 3 gets saved because the first entry is 1, second entry is 2, third entry is 3. And then in D, I get a square plus b square plus c square, which is 1 square plus 2 square plus 3 square, 1 plus 4 plus 9, which is 14. And then I return D, that means that 14 will be returned to me. So this is what I get. Fair enough. So that is one single function. Now let's say somebody asks me that, okay, fair enough, you have wrote a function, this is my first function, but I need more than one input. I need the summation of ABC and the summation of the square of ABC. That means I need A plus B plus C, and I also need A square plus B square plus C square. How will I write that function? So what I do is simply I write another line here. Let's say E is equal to A plus B plus C. Now I have to return both D and E. So I write return within a vector D and E. So I have to know, whoever is writing the function has to know that this particular first entry is D and second entry is E. Or you can name this particular thing. You can say that you can give it as a matrix and put some column name, or you can say give it as a data frame. Let's say I write return data frame, as we were doing in the last class, data frame, and I write that summation is equal to E, comma, square summation means summation of the squares is equal to D. That kind of a data frame I return. Okay. So now if I write Swagato 1, 2, 3, what will it return? Can you tell me? First of all, whatever it returns, what is the class of that? Will be a vector, will be a character, will be an integer, will be a matrix, what? Whatever gets returned, what will be that? No, will be a data frame, as Mayuk told, because I have written return data frame. So it will be a data frame. This data frame will have two columns and only one row. The first column header will be summation and the value will be E. And the second column's header will be square summation and the value will be D. So let's just enter that. See, this particular thing, whatever has been returned, is and not 614, that is okay, but also with column names. So if I just write, if I want to access only the summation column, I can write Swagato 1, 2, 3 $summation and it will give me 6. So that gives me an idea that this is a data frame, not a matrix, because I am calling, now I am able to call with the name of the and then if I just write square summation, I will get 14. Yes, Ankita, show me, just 1 minute. So can it be typed by any chance here? Or let me give you the, just 1 minute. Share your screen, Ankita. Yes, it's okay, no? No, you have to save whatever you wrote as the function, you have to save as Swagato is equal to. So just write, no, that function you have to write Swagato is equal to, then that function is equal to whatever. So if you want to change the function, just Ankita, you just I'm putting it in the chat box. You paste it, copy and paste it. So function name has to be defined every time you want to change the function. You have to name, because that function name is saved. With this name Swagato, it is getting saved here. Okay. So that's how you write a basic function. Now you can do lots of different stuff, and we will be doing lots of different stuff in our life later point of time. So that's how we can do a basic function. Okay. Some functions are inbuilt, some functions are not inbuilt. Based on your choice, you can give whatever you want to give. So today we will be doing this basic visualization. How to return a matrix, Rupam? Just write, instead of data frame, write matrix. It will return a matrix. Instead of data dot frame, you just write matrix or write as dot matrix, any one of them. So whatever you want to return, even you can write f is equal to matrix d comma e, and then you can return f. So I am breaking it in small steps. All of these things can be done in one single step itself. So can you just download these three libraries, ggplot2, mask, and plotfrisk? Those please download these things and then call these three libraries. So it's already installed in my computer, so I don't have to worry, but you have to probably download them. So I have shown you how to download them yesterday. So install packages, and you can put all these three in one go. So you can write ggplot2, mass, plotfrisk. You can write something like this also. In one go, you can install all of them. And dependency is equal to true. Dependency means sometimes one particular library is dependent on another library. So the previous library has to be there before you. Then what we have to do is that we have to tell this R that from which folder I am trying to get my data, or from in which folder I will be saving my data. These are the two information that you have to give this R program, R Studio or R. You have to give that thing. Unless you do that, here when you are calling a searching.csv, this guy will not know from where will I read searching.csv. There are so many files in your computer. So if you do not set the directory properly, you have to give the whole path, like C dot double has, then probably my documents and these and that. So the whole folder, within that another subfolder, and then the file, the whole path has to be given. To avoid that, what we do is we generally put our code and the raw data in the same folder, and then, or you can do what like this. You can go to session, set working directory, and then you can choose the directory where this particular data is residing. That becomes your working directory. What is a working directory? Directory is basically, the term directory means a folder. So working directory will be a folder in your whole computer from where the data will be stored, and where your results, your logs, your environment files will be stored. Your caches will be stored. So that is your basically now in my case, I will choose source file location, because my source file and my this data file are lying at the same place. So I will click that. So set working directory. So get working directory will give you what is the current working directory. So not always the current working directory is so like if I just write as Amrita told, get working directory, it will give, now that I have set this as a working directory, whatever I have written here is coming that. So get working directory is only just gives you what is the current working directory. Set working directory allows you to set the working directory at a particular place. So if we change the working directory, will there be issue to package? No. Package is installed in a different place. From package. So package location is here. When you click on the files, this is your this is the file that where you are currently. Sorry, if you click on this thing, if you click on the package, so see, these are basically your packages, which are some of them are installed in your C drive. Most of them are actually installed in your C drive. So the location of your package and the location of your working directory is different. So this is your working directory currently. So users, laptop, desktop, intro to R is something that I am using. In your computer, it will be different. Okay, fair enough. So now in the tracking data, I am reading a data. So I will just remove that Swagato, this thing. To remove any particular thing, you can just write RM Swagato and that thing will be removed in your global environment. Or you can just clean the global environment as we learned yesterday. So I'm reading a data set. And if you want to see the data set, S10 stands for Sachin Tendulkar. And this is Sachin Tendulkar's test performances. So basically the serial number, the start date of the of Sachin, the runs scored, the balls faced, the strike rate, the position he batted, dismissal, what kind of dismissal he happened on that particular innings, whether it is the first innings or the second innings, the opposition, the ground, the result of the match for India, and how much was the innings score for India. So that is the result. I have scraped this because this is a generic data. Means anybody can probably relate. If you are an Indian, you will be able to relate with this data. So that's right. Okay, now tail gives me the last 5-10 lines of a data set. So instead of viewing it, you can also write tail. So tail comma 3 gives me the last 3. If you do not write tail comma 3, if you just write tail, then I think it will give you last 6 or something. So by then also they are also for smaller data sets. You can provide last 6, yes. So for smaller data sets, you can just write tail S10 and you can have an idea that what this data consists of. And if I want to see the structure of the data, if I want to see what are the various kinds of variables this data set has, I can see the structure of S10. And structure of S10 says there's a data frame which has so many observations of so many variables, and so start date is a factor, then runs, balls faced, these are integer variables, some factor variables, integer variable, and so on. So that kind of data set I have. So now we will start with a quick plot. I'm going a little bit fast. If you face any problem, stop me. So the first thing is the basic plot. So there is a plot function. So if I just plot S10 dismissal, or I can just write with S10 plot dismissal, I can write any one of them. So both will work. So if I just run this, I get a basic dismissal. So this guy automatically understands that dismissal is what? Dismissal is a categorical variable. It's a okay. So this is something that I forgot to tell you guys. There, when we call data, yes. So the one that I just run right now is avoiding that. So you have to write with S10. So with is basically attaching. See the code that I've just run. So the question that I'm saying that when we talk about data set, generally data set is of 2 types. Any data is of 2 types in large context. One is basically categorical and another is continuous. So categorical are also of another 3 types. Nominal, ordinal, and interval. So what these things are, I will talk about that in the next slide. I will not discuss here. But categorical and continuous, this much you have to understand that this is basically numbers and these are basically some categories, some groups. Okay, so that is something that that this guy understands, this particular R understands, and based on that it draws a bar chart, because it knows that that particular dismissal is a categorical variable, so there is no other kind of chart can be drawn with only dismissal as variable. So I draw a box plot. Now somebody is asking that whether I can plot dismissal comma score. So I have to write it like this way: S10 with S10 plot dismissal comma score. So score is not found. Runs. Now it knows why this kind of a chart is coming. I will tell you. So this guy knows that this dismissal is a x-axis, it is dismissal, y-axis it is the run score. So how will you plot various kinds of parts? Let's say for bold there are so many different kind of dismissals. Sorry, for bold there are so many different kind of runs. So it automatically knows certain kind of thing. What is the best representation of the data? So this is a box plot, and I will talk about that box plot in a different time. Right now I'm just leaving it aside. In a different time I will talk about what is a box plot. So don't worry about that. So we have a basic plot right now, which is a bar chart, basic bar chart, which is like this. Okay. So this is the chart that I have right now. I will come one by one. I will come. Unable to read the CSV file. Okay, so there are some questions. Let me just see. How could we identify which library we require for a specific purpose? You cannot identify, Anindo, you have to search in Google. You are getting error that need finite y-lim values. Default is showing box plot instead of bar chart. Which one? In Sandeep's case, I think Sandeep has done that dismissal comma score. Sancheta, can you share your screen? I will ask you to share your screen. That's fine. Share your screen. Sancheta, share your screen, please. Avi, set your working directory. I think that is what you're doing wrong. Okay, one more time. I think many guys are having problem, and Sancheta is not responding. So I will again go back to my on this thing only. So this is what I was expecting yesterday, which is good that you guys are having right now. Okay, so everybody be with me. Everybody just see what I'm doing. Make sure there is nothing there in your global environment. Make sure there is nothing there in your console. Those who are having problem, I'm starting from the very start again. Make sure you are not having anything in your global environment. Make sure you are not having anything in your console. Fair enough? Now, make sure that after downloading the file, downloading the zip file, you have unzipped it. Have you unzipped it and put in a, all of you, all those who are having problem, please make sure that you have unzipped it and you have kept it in a single folder. Both the files, the dataviz.r file and that sachin.csv file, both should be in the same folder. Okay, fair enough. Then go to session, set working directory to source file location. Fair enough. If you have done that, then after calling the library, obviously you have to call these three libraries. Just run line number 7. Your data is there with you? Can you see S10 here? All those guys who are having problems, please let me know. Thank you. Run line number 7 now. Line number 7. Run this line. Just put the cursor there. You don't have to choose the whole line. You can just put the cursor. Fair enough? Okay. So everybody is with me up to this point? Fair enough. Now I have asked you to run line number 11. Just run line number 11. I hope you're getting this. Sanchit, I asked you to share. You didn't share your screen. Can you share your screen? Will I give you access? Please share screen. Share your screen. No. Now share. Now share. Just 1 minute. Okay, why don't you do one thing? Can you just click on this under this viewer? Can you see there is a brush sign in the fourth quadrant? In the fourth quadrant, can you see a brush sign which under the viewer? Yes. You see there is a help in the right side, further right. There is a brush sign, no? Not at the not that one. Just in the plot. Go to the plot tab. Go to the plots tab. See, there is a brush sign. Yes, click on that. Yes. Can you run the code once more? Just that width wala thing. You can use your cursor key in your console and same thing. Okay, okay. Can you press the back sign here? Can you just go the back sign? In the plots, there is a back sign. This is very unlikely. Okay, fair enough. Leave it. I will see later why it is happening. I don't think that is an error which is a part of anyway. So leave it. Don't worry. Don't worry about that. Leave it. We will go ahead. Let's see whether it happens for other kind of problems or not. No, if during calling the library, if there is no error, then the packages are installed properly. Don't worry about that. Don't worry. We'll go ahead. There are other ways to draw it. Yeah, line 14 is running. Anyways, so line 14 is something that I will not focus on. So let's do in this way. Okay. We will try to plot anything where this Q plot or GG plot is written. Whether this Q plot or GG plot is written. This one is creating problem. This plot, this special is also creating problem. So I'm not sure why. Let's run this one. Line number 14, which is a scatter plot. So for those for whom it is working, it looks like this. What is a scatter plot? It is a XY plot. It gives you an idea that what is the relationship between the x-axis and y-axis. So whatever is the x-axis, you have to write first, and whatever is the y-axis, you have to write second. So the syntax is basically plot your x-axis column and then your y-axis column. Whatever is your x-axis, you have to write first, and whatever is your y-axis, you have to write next. You can also write Q plot, which is a Q. This plot function is a normal function under the base library. Base is the package that you have installed, which is the basic R package. Whenever you install R, you actually install the base of R. But then you have installed ggplot, which is a library. Under this ggplot, this particular function is there, which is called qplot. So now qplot also has this scatter plot, which looks a little bit better. X, y, and data is equal to S10. That is what you have to mention here. So qplot gives you a little bit better looking plot. That's all. So now if I that's fun. So if I want to zoom it, it looks a little bit better. That's all. Nothing special. So I hope in these ones you do not have any problem. I will again clear the whole charting area, the plotting area. Now, qplot was an old way of writing this thing. The new way is ggplot. There are lots of I would say improvements have been done in this ggplot. So we will use ggplot. In the ggplot, the first syntax, starts with the dataset name. Like here you have to write data is equal to S10 later. Here it starts with the dataset name. And within aesthetics, AES, aesthetics, you have to define your x-axis and y-axis. And then you have to specifically mention what type of plot you want. There are other types of plots. This is a point plot. You can also plot a line plot. Or let's say you can also plot So point plot is basically a scatter plot. Line plot is XY line, which sometimes looks like this. We're slowly coming to the colorfuling part, Lokesh. So the plot is the very basic code which is there in the base package. Plot gives you very basic plots. Qplot and ggplot gives you better plots. Where you will get the all list of plot? Google. Some of the very common plots are like bar plot, line plot, scatter plot. These are common. Then pie chart. Then the one that I have drawn, which is like uh, pie chart, and then what is called box plot, the one that I have just sometime back I have drawn. Then violin plot. So these are some of the plots which are common. Funnel, histogram, very good. Histogram. So these are some of the things which are common and which we will learn. But there are other types of plots are available also, and play with it. So not all plots can be there. Radial plot. So play with it. Not all plots can be covered here. So play with it, frankly speaking. Find out in Google and play with it. So I will be covering there all these 7-8 plots. Whatever I have written is there here. So what are the inputs of ggplot? One by one, let me answer the questions that you have given. GEOM, I do not know what is the full form. Whoever has created this ggplot library has given some name. I didn't care about the full form also. If you want, I will find out, but I don't know. But ggplot GN_point specifically tells this particular guy that create a point plot, a scatter plot, not a line plot. So if I have written GM_line, then it would have given me the line plot. Yes, both are equivalent enough. Both are equivalent, but basically both are equivalent. With is like attaching. With S10 means I am attaching the data set, and I can call the column names directly. The difference between plot and qplot is plot always creates basic plot without any colorfulness and etc. You cannot do lots of editing in plot. In qplot or in ggplot, you can do lots of different kind of editing. We will do that as we come forward. We'll do that. Now, frankly speaking, all these plots can be better generated in Excel or in Tableau. The plots will be much more better looking in all these things. But what happens is, if you are a data analyst or data scientist or whatever you want to call yourself, if you are doing analytics, you cannot switch between one platform to another platform for just creating one plot. You have to stick to a particular platform. Now, Python and R are those kind of platforms which does everything. It will take coding. It will make your life a little bit tougher. You can do that without coding in Tableau, but you can do it here. So that's why we prefer this R or Python. R, I personally prefer, or I'm teaching R because this is more, there are more number of packages available here. So a person who is not a coder in his life in general will find it easy because lots of packages are available. But Python is good for development purpose, and both of them can call each other. Python can call R and R can call Python. So if you can learn any one language, you can probably be suitable to learn the other language very quickly. So your choice. Anyway, so while I am coming back, that we will be majorly using qplot and ggplot. The normal plot function will also use, but that is for the just then and there kind of idea making, not for permanent idea. So this one I will also run, and that will give me the same plot like qplot. Whatever you got in qplot, it will give you the same result. So the point chart is made. It's coming. So AES inside ggplot is basically the aesthetics. It stands for aesthetics. So Wait a minute. Yeah, so it's the same thing that we have got in the previous one. I will go ahead and I will probably clean this one. The next one is line graph. See, the only thing that I have changed from before here is I have written GUM point plus GUM line above in comparison to 17. If you compare 17 and 23, this GUM underscore line has generated extra. Here in case of Q plot, if I compare with line number 15 and line number 22, here I am mentioning specifically. So what I'm trying to do here, I'm creating a line plot. So before I do a line plot, you have to understand, let's run this 20th line, that in a line plot, your x-axis has to be ordered. Your x-axis is, it is must that your x-axis is ordered, means that they are increasing order. If your x-axis is not in increasing order, then your curve will be something like this. Like if I draw it without this line number 20, if I run line number 21, okay, sorry, you don't run line number 21. So if I run this, the line chart looks like this, which is not specifically a line chart, which is a very bad looking chart, frankly speaking. So it's a very bad looking chart. So which I am not interested in. This kind of a chart, I'm not interested in. So this is not a correct chart. So what I have to do is I have to sort the x-axis. So I am ordering the x-axis, which is ball space, and putting it in a different data set, which is S10A. So here I am learning a new function called the order function. What does order do? Order gives me the order of, in an increasing order, the ball space. So if I just write order within that ball space, it will give me the position, which particular value should be. So where the lowest number of balls are faced, this is the third lowest number of balls are faced. This 3. You have to find out where 1 is written. That is, this is 1. That is the absolutely lowest number of balls are faced. Probably 1 ball is faced here. So similarly, he was just ducked in the second innings, probably, if you just check. So that's what it is doing. It is just giving the order of the ball space. Now with these serial numbers, if I put in the row, the first row will be the original data set's second row. The second row in the new data set will be original data set's third row. The position is 3, no? So third row. And then this row will be whatever is this row, which is probably 220. This is 229. So then 228, 227, 226, 225. This guy's position is 225. So that 225th row will become the new data set's third row. So I'm ordering it up based on, so basically it is sorting based on ball space. So I have sorted based on ball space. Just check the code. Now if I want to see S10A, if I want to see the data set S10A, the ball space are ordered. See 1, 2, 2, 2, 2, 2, and if I come down slowly, it will go up. Then 3, then 4. So it is sorted in an increasing order. Now with this x-axis, I can plot runs. Now if I plot runs, I'm getting a good looking line plot. So this is the line plot actually. Comma, there's a comma missing, and in the after BF there's a comma missing. Okay, that is type is equal to L, not 1. Ankita, that is type is equal to L. L stands for line plot. If you don't write that type is equal to L, it will give you a scatter plot. That type is equal to L gives you a line plot. Okay. Now I can do better looking line plot by running line number 22. So just run line number 22 and 23. Both will give the same plot. V capital most probably. V capital. You are giving V small. V will be capital. So this is the better looking plot. Line number 22 and 23 both will give this one. And this is a little bit better looking than the original plot function. So we could not do the bar plot. Let's do the bar plot here. Okay. So can you run line number 27? So here I am saying that the result is a categorical variable. If you remember, result is a categorical variable, win or loss. Data is equal to S10 and GOM is equal to bar. Here in qplot we were writing GOM is equal to line comma point. Here I am writing GOM is equal to bar. So I am telling it put a bar plot. Or if you are using ggplot function, you can write GOM underscore bar like this. L is in lower case, yes, not 1. I don't know, Arun. I don't know what GOM stands for. I don't know. The guy who has created ggplot has written that function name. Like I have named Shagato, he has named like that. Probably geometry. I do not know. Means I have never asked. I thought, yeah, okay. So this is the plot that we got, which is a bar plot. Now we can slowly add levels, we can color it, we can do lots of stuff on this data set. Yes, that particular line we are not using. That statistical to identity is giving error. That's why I removed it from my line. That statistical to identity, I have to find out what kind of error. It was giving error in my thing also. Originally, so ggplot got updated actually, frankly speaking. So when I created this code and I am teaching it for quite some time, at that point of time, this statistical to identity was used to work. Now statistical to identity does not work. I have to find out why. I could not find out why. That's why I removed line number 29. Okay, doesn't matter. We are getting our chart as usual. So all these libraries that we are using keep themselves. They gets updated by the coder. Whoever is created this particular library updates it sometimes, and sometimes some of the features that's why vanish. Some of the features comes in, and this is a way of learning. You will find out that what alternative has been created. Now I checked it in the today afternoon only at around 2 to 3 p.m. I found out that line number 29 is not working. So I just dropped that line. That is not needed as of now. Later, if I find out why it is not working and what is the alternative of that, I will just give you guys. So till this point, we have drawn 3 types of plots: a scatter plot, a bar chart, and a line plot. Can you create a plot, a line plot with, let's say, runs code and x-axis runs code and y-axis strike rate? Give me a line plot why your x-axis is runs code and y-axis is strike rate. So as simple as that, nothing fancy. Can you create a bar chart of dismissals? Sanchata, you are wrong because Sanchata, why you are wrong? Tell me, tell anybody why Sanchata is wrong. And also Gaurav is wrong. Tell me anybody why Sanchata and Gaurav is wrong. Why don't you try Sanchata and see whether the line plot is coming properly or not? Both Sanchata and Gaurav, why don't you try and see that why it is not coming? Yes, you have to order the y-axis, x-axis. Very good. Very good, very good, very good. So ggplot and qplot automatically does the ordering. But plot cannot do it. So for plot, you have to do the ordering manually. Okay. Okay. Can you create a bar plot? Can you create a bar plot of dismissal? Just check whether dismissals D is capital or small. Huh? Just check that. How will you check that? How will you get the column names of a data set? No, Rupam, you are wrong. Check the first bracket. Your first bracket is, yes, your first bracket is wrong. Yes, yes, call names within bracket, and then you give the very good, very good, very good. So okay, so we'll stop here today, and we'll continue from this point in the next week, which is next Saturday, as the details have been given to you guys. We'll start from this point, and you can probably try out the codes. These codes, whatever is given, these are not very heavy things. These are, I think, very easy. You can see the code and understand. It's not very difficult to understand. So run line by line from line number 31 onwards, run line by line on your own and check that what kind of results you are getting. This is not something that is very difficult. What happens is if you do it on your own, then it becomes easier for me to teach and because you come up with the questions readily. So it becomes easier for me to teach. So try out this particular code on your own. So the assignment will be basic data handling. Both assignment and quiz will be basic data handling. Like the one that I'm asking right now, that kind of questions will be there in the quiz. I might ask you to find out the mistake in this code, or what function will do this, what function will do that. That kind of questions will be doing. And in an assignment, there will be some data handling problems. I will give you a data and I will ask you some result, and you have to write the code so that that result comes up. Okay, so my deadlines are very strict. You will not get any extensions in the deadline. You will get 7 days time, but no extensions. Basically, if as per my idea, if you are responding here, there are many people who are not responding also. So if you are responding, so for any person, you can message me privately. For any person, is it becoming very difficult? For example, Zuvraj, I have not seen you responding. Or Ashutosh. Yeah, assignment stuff is coming, Suraj. It's coming, it's coming. I have not given the assignments yet. Yeah, Ashutosh, is it getting difficult? By any chance? Madhusmita, for you? So I should know whom I should give extra care. That's why I'm asking. Within that there is something called global environment and local environment. I will talk about that in the next class, Vipin, to answer your question. Global variables and local variables, there is some concept of that. I will talk about that. Okay. So Bipin has asked some question. I'm answering that. It was difficult because work directory was not set. That's fine once figure out. Thank you, Suraj. Okay, that's all for today. Try practice. Practice is the only thing. Yeah, Ankita, tell me. Raj, I will give the assignments. It's not given yet. I will give the assignment and then I will send announcements. You will get mail that okay, assignments are on. Yes, Rupam. Rupam, the answer is yes. Because ggplot will be more advanced. There can be so many things that can be done in ggplot later. You will learn, Ankita. So Arun, that's what I told actually. That's why I have given the whole picture of today. That coding is important, Arun. We are teaching coding, that's okay. But what is more important, Arun, later point of time you will understand is the understanding. So after the next class, means after this week probably, we will not majorly focus on coding anymore. We will be focusing on the concepts, on the statistical concepts and the business applications of that. This is but this coding experience will be required if you want to do it faster. That's all. And every person will have its own pace of learning, so don't worry. Even if you are a little bit slow in the coding learning, it's not very not something to be worried about. I took 6 months to learn coding, so you will also take 6 months. Don't worry. Yes, Prithviraj, yes. Okay, guys, thank you. That's all for today. I will see you in the next week. And I will send the recording by tonight. Thank you, guys. I'm ending the meeting.
Thank you, sir.